there's another HDMI around, I'll take it.
Yeah, you try it then.
You got your one on yours? The spare? Cheers, I could really do with it because this monitor's not going to, the on-screen onboard's not going to do it. Just trying to sort out cabs.
Good evening and welcome to Stoneyhill for the latest round of Arnold Clark men's Premiership fixtures as Musselburgh host Watsonians under the lights. These are two teams at very, very different ends of the table, and Musselburgh need a miracle if they are to avoid relegation. But the great escape could start tonight. They need 20 points from their next 4 games if they are to reach 9th place and secure their place in the Premiership next seasons. Watsonians, meanwhile, look nicely placed for a playoff place, currently sitting 3rd. They'll want to put pressure on Harriets above them to try and secure that home semi-final. And of course, there are a host of other teams looking to get in the way. 5 games tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And a couple of crackers in there as well. Ayr against Edinburgh Accies, Glasgow Hawks against Heriots, Kelso host Hawick, Melrose against Mar, and Selkirk against the Curry Chieftains. Well, yeah, Kelso against Hawick, that's the other one that really stands out. If Kelso get anything from that, Musselburgh's fate is decided. Remember, it's the bottom 3 clubs going down as the league restructures again next season, going back to 10 clubs. Right, let's have a little look at the teams. Well, we'll go from 1 to 15 for the host. Craig Owenson, Jason Tallick, Harry Meadows, Abraham Matini, Joss Arnold, Dylan Jakeman, Matthew Crawford and Jordan Lister make up the forward pack. In the backs, Jack Rule, Danny Owenson, Sandy Watt, Ben Haber, Rory Watt, Tom Foley and Peter Burns. Mitch Thomas, Ross Brown, Ewan Bothron, Rory Smith, Murray McCowan, Robert Stott and James Longwell make up the subs, and Derek O'Riordan is of course the head coach. Now for the visitors, 1 to 15 again. Cole Lamberton, Matt Pritchard and Angus Williams are the front row. Andrew McInnes, Quagga Van Niekerk are in the engine room, and Josh Minty, Xander McTaggart and Stu Allison make up the back row. In the back line, the halfbacks are Murray Scott and captain Jason Baggett. We've got Xander Walls, Loman McPherson and Freddie Owsley, the back three. The centres are Dom Kutzer and Ronan Kerr. On the bench, Jamie Holligan, Matthew Marshall, Tom Gracie, Johnny Roberts, Josh Mitchell, Connor McAlpine and Sam Leveni. Well, I'm delighted to be joined by former Scotland international Lee Jones. Lee, what do you expect going into this one tonight?
Yeah, well, we're approaching the sharp end of the season, aren't we, with the 4 regular matches left, and you know, Musselburgh have had a fighting season, and as you mentioned, 3 teams going down. They're battling, they're still in with a chance. They're playing at home on a Friday night and they'll be looking to put in a performance in front of their home crowd. Watsonians coming down from Super Series have had a really strong season, as have the other 2 Super Series clubs. Their depth is being tested, as mentioned, by the coaching staff, but they'll always put out a quality 23, so they'll be looking to put in a good performance tonight as well.
And for any fans of the Super Series, there are names in that Watsonians lineup you'll definitely recognise. Cole Lamberton, Quagga Van Niekerk, Murray Scott and Jason Baggett all starred, as did Loman McPherson and of course Freddie Owsley. Musselburgh, on the other hand, are a team full of young guns and hopefully of names you'll remember in the future. Jason Tallick, Joss Arnold and Dylan Jakeman in the forward pack, particularly ones to keep an eye on. All teenagers, all already playing Premiership rugby. It's a huge season for them. They'll have learned so much despite being down the bottom of the table with only the 2 wins this season. And that's the referee, the man in that is orange, I promise. It's Rob McDowell, and he's assisted by Paul Rendell and Digby Thomas. And it's the Watsonians captain Jason Baggett who is set to get us underway here in East Lothian. Last game between these sides, you might think it was a pretty straightforward win for Watsonians. It was anything but. Musselburgh were 19-0 up in the opening stages. Watsonians had to stage an incredible comeback, and they did just that. The ball holds up just a little on the surface and Baggett has to react. He's done well though to stay in. First opening stages of contact, looking to set the intent and the tempo for this one. Watsonians looking to try and attack from deep. Here they go. It's Owsley around the outside. Phenomenally gifted rugby player. I'm sure it won't be the last time we talk about him this evening. Spreading it wide now. Couple big hits coming in. Josh Minty eventually wrestled down. Scott to Lamberton.
Release.
Van Niekerk.
Good effort, Musselburgh.
Baggett trying the little kick in behind. Has he judged it? It's well taken though by Musselburgh.
Use.
And they're down in Coffin Corner, a horrible place to be. They get the opportunity just to bang it down the pitch, but they don't find touch. And this Watsonians wave of early pressure continues as Baggett tries to chip it into the hands of Xander Walls. Walls just misjudges. That was a real chance for Watsonians. Scott going blind. And this could be a real chance now. Missed tackle and a slip. Watsonians do go over. They strike first after only 2 minutes. It's Ronan Kerr with the try, evading a few tackles. It looked like he'd fallen over, gone to ground, but able to get back up and scramble over the line. And the perfect start for Watsonians, Lee.
Yeah, just over 2 minutes. The opening play lasted there, and both teams had possession. Both 10s were trying to find space in behind. Watsonians went to width, they came back. They managed to find a bit of space with a kick pass, and Ronan Kerr was the one that managed to finish this off. He does well to get through the first tackle. A slip, but then he gets back up and he manages to power over. So it's a strong start from Watsonians, but it's a long opening play for these players as they trot out on a Friday night.
And no one remembers how scrappy those finishes are. They only remember the stats, really, and Ronan Kerr is there to get his 7th try of the Premiership season. Baggett got a lovely angle of it, and it just drifts it wide. A little unlike Jason Baggett, the league's 2nd top point scorer, 132 and 132 it remains. But after 3.5 minutes, Musselburgh 0, Watsonians 5. It's Ronan Kerr with the score.
Yeah, down the short side here with Murray Scott. Ronan Kerr's at first receiver. He just manages to get outside his man. Musselburgh are chasing hard down that short side, but find themselves a bit short.
It's a good take from Watsonians, a decent knee start. The backs are set up. And they fancy running this from deep. Kutzer flings it out wide. Xander Walls was outside, he wanted it, he's an imposing figure on the wing.
Always moving away, play on.
The first pod wrestled to the ground,
Charge 5.
and then Murray Scott will go to the skies for the first time this evening. Well, it's spilled, and this could be a chance for a quick second. Kutzer, a little basketball pass over the top, and Xander Walls will go in for Watsonians' second in the space of the first 4 minutes. A try really of Musselburgh's own making. Couldn't respond to the pressure that Murray Scott's kick put them under, and Xander Walls gleefully snaps up that chance to get Watsonians' second of the evening.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Andrew, Xander Walls, an imposing figure on this left wing here, and he manages to get himself over. Watsonians looked to play deep from the kick-off, and then they played to width. They looked to the box kick, and the competitive box kick. Dom Kutsia manages to tidy things up, and then a great creative pass over the top, basketball style out to his wing. And Watsonians making it look easy within the first couple of phases of this match.
Peter Burns, who spilled that one there, the former Heriots and West of Scotland man. He's actually got a Rugby League cap for Scotland. That wasn't one of his finest moments. He won't want to see that one back, as Baggett has the chance to make amends. Well, he pushed the first one too far right. He hooks the next one to the left. I think in football we'd say he's left his shooting boots at home.
Or he's just finding his bearings. The next one will be...
You're a lot kinder than I am, Lee. You're a lot kinder.
There's a bit of a breeze tonight, and those competitive kicks are going to be hard to take under the lights, and it's Watsonians that managed to capitalise.
Burns, who sends it into the sky. No jumping pod this time, but it's easy enough for Van Niekerk to gather. Really trying to make a nuisance of themselves at the breakdown. But again, Scott goes skyward. This one bounces, still not gathered, but Talik is still going.
Off the leg, play on.
It's spilled by Musselburgh in the opening stages of this. Just been a little overawed by the occasion, and it's not been very clean. And that wasn't clean from either side of a knock on in our first scrum of the evening.
Yeah, Watsonians opting to kick straight from the kick-off receipt that time, having had joy on their last attempt, and it was a great competitive box kick from Murray Scott, which it wasn't taken by Musselburgh as we look back to the second score. But it's maybe something Watsonians will look at, just to put the ball in the air and make it competitive, try and end back possession.
Lee, you'll know better than anyone, when those kicks are sent high up into the back three, and you know you've got a forward pack running at you, or perhaps some of the sizes under walls, it must put a lot of pressure on you.
It does, and the more competitive the kick, you know, if that actually makes competition, it's always going to be that bit harder. You know, as when you're receiving that kick, you're going to have to get off the floor, you're going to have to, you know, try and get above your opposite man, and with the rules coming in now with the no escort, and it's harder and harder, it makes more of a competition for that ball.
Well, the scrum penalty went against Watsonians, and Musselburgh took it quick, and they've flown down the pitch. They're knocking on the door of the 22 now, and their first real attack of the game. Strong Watsonians defence there.
On the floor, number 8.
But Watsonians give away the penalty. It was Stu Allison not rolling away as Ben Hever was taken down. It looks like a good double tackle initially.
Just pushing before the ball free. Causing it too
Rob
early.
McDowell on that one quickly. That's what Watsonians thought. They turned it over. Murray Scott putting it away. But instead it's the hosts who have pumped it down into the corner. And they'll have their first throw in, a chance for the set piece to get going. An opportunity for teenage hooker Jason Talik to throw his first dart. To the nearby grammar school he's been in. Edinburgh age grade sides. Certainly one to keep an eye on. Almost stolen. Musselburgh hang on. It's Abraham Taitini, the New Zealander.
Ball lifted, play on.
It's the first carrier. Great line there.
On the ball.
As
No high tackle.
Musselburgh pierce the Watsonians line. Shout for a high tackle. As Musselburgh get it wide. Just lost a little momentum there. Looking to get it back as the Watsonians defence reorganises, realigns and wins the penalty.
On feet, throw them on his elbows. Initial
That was the first real attack that we've seen from Musselburgh. Lee, they got pretty far down the pitch as well. Were you impressed by that?
Yeah, it was a good set piece, good line out, and they managed to string themselves through a couple of phases. I just felt they were maybe sitting off Watsonians a bit in terms of the attack, and you know that ball went to the edge with Sandy Watt, but Watsonians were able to slide off, and they have such a strong defence. Managed to get the turnover.
Another knock on. It is a cold one out here. Musselburgh yet to warm up the hands, and Sander Walls is brought down. Kutzer coming into play scrum half. Baggett holds on and then slips. It's a night for the long stunts, I think.
Ball here.
A couple of players skid over on this turf already as Scott just hesitates Musselburgh quick to fly up. Oh, that's an unbelievably powerful carry. I think it was Cole Lamberton. And now Watsonians have numbers wide. Mostly into the hands of Loman McPherson. They've gone right now, they're trying to truck up the middle. Lamberton, another huge carry. Dylan Jakeman got him down. A scrappy breakdown had Watson's on the back foot, but trying to find that momentum again. Some decent offloading there, keeping the ball alive. And Matt Pritchard did well, took that one off his toes. Kutzer gets it wide. Oh, and here go Watsonians again. And it will be their third try after just 12 minutes. And it's Loman McPherson with it. On the far side, spotted a gap, pinned his ears back and scampered over the line.
Yeah, really strong finish from Loman McPherson. Manages to get on that outside break. But the work in the lead up was great from Watsonians. They're making metres in the carry. There's Loman McPherson. He just manages to take that ball just on the outside, just gets outside his man as he takes that. And he's got such pace, the right winger. Great interplay between backs and forwards alike for Watsonians. And as I say, the carries in the lead up, they're making extra metres. Watsonians struggling to contain those ball carriers, and that set up a real platform for the backs line, and Loman McPherson's the one that manages to go over.
Well, it was Musselburgh who made the fast start the last time these two sides met. Watsonians have taken that as a challenge. They're absolutely flown out the blocks as Jason Baggett nails his first kick of the evening, splits the posts and makes it Watsonians 17, Musselburgh 0. Here's another look. Just that little pass from Lamberton to Kutzer and McPherson. Maybe a little goose step in there as well for good measure.
Yeah, and it's a great pass from Dom Kutzer as well. You know, traditionally Watsonians have played him in the full-back role, but his ability to play at 12 is, you know, his distribution skills are really good, and we've seen it on that occasion.
No steal.
He played at 10 last week, and he's been stepping into that position a couple of times. His first receiver. It's Musselburgh get the restart back. That one attack that got them in about 5 or 10 metres of the Watsonians' line. It was encouraging enough. Can they get closer? Can they prove more clinical and find a way back into this match? And remember, they need a bonus point win
Watson's away
tonight. They've got a real mountain to climb already. Here they go, trying to punch it up the middle.
No release, part of the tackle.
And they win the penalty. Jack Rule, I think, just thought about taking it quickly and then thought a little better of it. Man down at the moment, back to his feet, a little groggily. And that's Craig Owenson, a stalwart around here, as is his brother. The two veterans who are trying to drag this young team to Premiership safety. It will be some job if they manage it. And at the moment it looks like it might just be a job too far.
One more in.
Talek,
stay back now.
his first throw just about worked on this near side.
It's fine, good contest.
And this one does
Ball
as well.
in the 5.
Looking for the big shove now.
Still
The
moving
5 metre
forwards.
line. It's a decent defence initially, but it's spinning round. It's going to be mighty hard to see what's going on underneath all those bodies.
Watson 6, advantage.
But it looks like they're going to get held short, and now the ball comes out wide. A cross kick. just misjudged. It was Tom Foley
No advantage.
who tried to gather it, but it always looked like it was just getting away from him late.
Collapse.
Yeah, Musselburgh, they did really well just to keep that ball visible to the referee. And the ball went down and it was Danny Owenson with the crossfield there. Unfortunately, Tom Foley just can't manage to take it. You wonder if he'd potentially been stood a bit wider if he was able to come in on that ball, but good vision from Danny Owenson and good line out and drive from Musselburgh.
1-3
Good news for the hosts.
Let's go.
They had the advantage anyway. Now they've got the penalty, tap penalty. Talek tries to truck it up. Really strong defence initially. Musselburgh expending a hell of a lot of energy and a lot of bodies at the moment as well. That Watsonians defence holding strong. A boot goes flying.
Watsonians, roll away! Roll away!
Watsonians told to roll away. As Borough inch ever closer, and now the ball comes out wide. It's launched out, and Musselburgh do have their score. And this time, Tom Foley makes no mistake in the corner, collecting that pass, taking a little step to get round his man, and diving over in the corner. That's a sign of life from Musselburgh. They fire a shot back quickly. This game is not going to be straightforward for Watsonians.
Yeah, it's well worked, isn't it? Just a delayed pass brings the Watsonians defence up, but then Tom Foley does really well just to put pace on the ball on the edge and manages to step his way into the corner. A good patience from Musselburgh with the lead up. Yeah, it's a good finish, good winger's finish.
It will be Danny Owenson from the tee. To try and eat further into Watsonians' advantage. It's a tough kick. Oh, and it hits the crossbar and bounces away. It looked like he'd nailed that, Danny Owenson. Of course, I think as a nation we're all still pretty twitchy when watching conversions at the moment. That looked like a good one.
Yeah, and he'll know this pitch better than anyone. It's an interesting match-up tonight between Danny Owenson and Jason Baggett, two really experienced guys pulling the strings for their team. A real head-to-head.
Certainly has been an interesting start to this game. Watsonians have really piled the pressure on. They've asserted their dominance really early on. Only how difficult will it be for Musselburgh? Obviously they've got that try, that'll have boosted the confidence, but they've still got a long way to go, don't they?
Yeah, look, we mentioned it, you know, at the start. It was a big task before this game even kicked off, and it's been made even tougher by the fact Watsonians have went 3 scores up. But like you say, it's good to see there's a bit of life in the team there. And in patches this season, in patches in games, they've been really quality, and it's just for the fact that they've dropped off here and there that they've managed to lose scores and end up on the wrong side of results.
And there you go, you heard the roar there. That was almost like they'd scored. It was a penalty at the breakdown. Craig Owenson winning it. 34 years old now. A regular in the Scotland Club 15.
Yeah.
An integral part of this club and of this community.
Go on the line, lads. Let's go.
And then his brother Danny.
Just give that 2 minutes for me, okay?
After Watsonians' incredible start, it's been a good response, but Jason Talek's throw is overthrown. Now Watsonians will look to come forward. Freddie Owsley
No, release. Must be release.
holding on to that.
Through.
The ball comes out.
Sorry.
It will be
This way.
Watsonians' ball. Oh, sorry, it's a
No
Musselburgh
quick,
ball.
no quick, because I put the arm the wrong way there. Penalty this way, for
Jack
15 on the
Rule
floor.
wanted to take that quick.
Sorry, lads.
Almost ran through an ocean of maroon and white shirts. Everyone just looked a little perplexed though.
I was going to say, if it wasn't a Musselburgh ball, it was well played by Jack Rule, because we thought Watsonians had earned the penalty there, but it was great work from Danny Owenson. Actually was the man over the ball. Freddie Owsley carried really well with pace in that wide channel, but he got a wee bit isolated just as he broke through that first tackle, and Danny Owenson was a man hard over the ball and earned a turnover for his team. Opt to kick to touch and go back to the line out here.
Well, it's Musselburgh who have been the more disciplined team so far. A few unforced errors like that one there, but it's going to come off. Jack Rule almost through, hauled back by his shirt. Here is Petrie.
Tackle.
Eventually goes
knock
down.
on. Couple of knock-ons there.
Scrappy
First
ball.
one was by Blue.
It's a knock on. First one by Musselburgh. And I think maybe the danger for them is they've had all this ball, they've only got 5 points to show for it, and it feels like Watsonians have scored every time they've launched an attack.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Watsonians have really had to. Their third try, it was well earned. They went through the phases, but the first two were almost, I don't want to say gifted, but they came very easily for Watsonians. And as you say, Musselburgh are having to work hard for everything they're getting here. And when it becomes scrappy and there's a turnover, it's really tough to take when there's so much energies went into getting into the field position, earning the penalty, going to touch, executing the line out. It's frustrating when these mistakes crop up, and it just gives an opportunity for Watsonians to get themselves back into the game and earn field position and territory.
And use it.
Solid scrum. Watsonians clear their lines. Peter Burns does better with that one. Fancies a little gallop forward, breaks a couple of tackles and almost gets through. Rule out to Petrie. Two Kiwis in the Musselburgh ranks linking up as they now come left. It was just a little bit behind Sandy Watt. He did well.
Well done, Sandy. Watch him back.
Musselburgh on the edge of Watsonians 22 again.
The
ball goes down from Owenson to Petrie. Freddie Owsley launches it down the pitch. A rather flat kick that sits up nicely for Peter Burns.
Musselburgh retreat.
And he
onside.
Sit a lot more vertically. Jason Baggett.
Timing good.
Just tries the little chip and chase. Dom Coutts chasing. And it comes back to Baggett. And if he gets it wide, he throws a little dummy. Might he go all the way himself? No, he's unselfish. And Watsonians are over for their fourth. Another for Loman McPherson. A 9th of the season now for him. And Watsonians just punish that little bit of chaos from Musselburgh.
Yeah, and punish is the right word, Andrew. It came from Watsonians. Another mistake. It was turned over and played really quickly by Watsonians. They went into the kick battle, and a bit of an easier finish here for Loman McPherson, but it was Jason Baggett that laid it on the plate for him. He had the chip kick into the midfield. A fortunate bounce, to be fair, and then an outrageous dummy. He arguably could have finished it himself. He had man inside and a man outside, and it's Loman McPherson that gets the spoils.
And of course, when we talk about Jason Baggett, we have to remember this is a guy who's played a couple of games for Edinburgh as well. Former Cheetahs player too. A class act indeed. He's got the chance at this kick. Off the post, off the other post and over. Goodness me. Well, he couldn't do that again if he tried. Jason Baggett. The most important thing is it's gone over and it's added another 2 points for Watsonians. A little bit of showboating maybe after that audacious dummy that put Loman McPherson in.
Yeah, the radar's well tuned now. Having got his last two over, if only just. But yeah, that had Jason Baggett's name all over it.
Well, it has been quite a long time since Musselburgh won a game of rugby, back on the 9th of November, 32-30 win over Mar in Ayrshire. Their only home win of the season came back in September, 21-17 win over Kelso. It's a brilliant take and carry though, to try and get a bit of wind back in the sails of Musselburgh. Talick shunted backwards. A couple of really big hits from Watsonians, but thankfully Talick back to his feet.
On the ball.
Owenson
Ball
actually spots
onside.
a gap. Rather sliced kick. Feels like no one's quite getting hold of their kicks so far this evening, as Owenson's rather squirts off his boot and goes out for a throw-in.
How many Watsons?
Yeah, he's seen the space well there, Danny Owenson.
In we come.
Execution's not quite there, you can just see the ball fall away, but it pins Watsonians back. It was Danny Owenson that actually took the kick in the backfield with a great break in the midfield. He's showing all of his skills tonight.
I was about to say good throw, but the referee didn't agree. Matt Pritchard pinged for that by Rob McDowell.
Scrum. Not straight. No, but we're not playing that, unfortunately.
We're up for the scrum.
Not next season, not in this league. Yeah. What? Well, you go speak to him.
Plenty of spectators down here at Stoneyhill this evening.
Pardon? I don't argue. Never.
Those spectators will be hoping to cheer Musselburgh on to something incredible. It was going to have to be something pretty good to beat Watsonians anyway. Now it's going to need something outrageous, as the visitors put themselves into a really commanding position with almost half an hour gone.
Set!
The visitors have been on a really good run of form as well. 4 wins in the last 5, beating Boyk, Curry, Mar and Glasgow Hawks. Just losing out to Heriots in the Edinburgh Derby. It's Musselburgh try and throw it long. Sandy Watt twisting and turning.
Good contest.
Down. As Jack Rule goes searching for it. Watsonians defence flying up. This could be a chance on the outside for Musselburgh. Just held up. The ball almost squirting out. No knock on, says the referee. Owenson.
Tackle! Okay, away!
Now, little inside ball. Rule thought about getting in there, but almost had his hands trodden on and took them away. The ball kept alive. And that is an enormous hit that forces the knock on. Jordan Lister almost cut in half there. He was too busy worrying about his ribs to take care of the ball. And will come back for the knock on.
Yeah, that's a huge tackle. I think it's Quagga Van Niekerk that comes in. Puts an end to things for Musselburgh here. Yeah, the double hit ends on the turnover. Musselburgh are working so hard around this area of the field, and most of the action's been here, you know, from what we've seen in the first 30 minutes, and Musselburgh are working so hard to try and get round the corner. It's just little inaccuracies that are creeping in. Watsonians quite happy to defend. They're being very patient, you know. They're generally a very good defensive team, but they're happy to sit and wait for Musselburgh, wait for that mistake and then capitalise. But the majority of the play has been in this area of the field.
Well, there's that hit again.
Crouch!
Double teamed. Poor Jordan Lister.
Bind!
As we prepared for the scrum. Lee, do you have a hit in mind that you remember as being one of the sorest that you were ever on the receiving end of?
I think I try and forget. Just blanked from memory. Let me have a think.
Little trip down memory lane for you there.
There's been a few.
As Dom Coetzer plays a pass inside. Baggett sprinting away. He's got options right and left. He goes to Owsley. A little handoff, and Freddie Owsley is away. 15th try of the season for Freddie Owsley, and an opportunity for him to really stretch the legs and show off all the pace that he has to burn. A 5th try of the evening for Watsonians, and they go from one end of the pitch to the other, finished off by Freddie Owsley.
Yeah, we've mentioned it already, but Watsonians just been so efficient in taking their opportunities. Musselburgh cough it up on the 22, and you know, from the set piece scrum, Watsonians managed to go wide. It's a well executed play, but Freddie Owsley has to finish that, and he shows good strength and pace. You know, arguably should have been tackled, and almost looked like he would have had to look to the offload there, but he had enough just to break through that last tackle and, you know, finish really well with good pace.
And good decision making as well from Jason Baggett, because he had options right and left. He had to keep his cool, pick the right one, and he just popped it straight into the breadbasket of Freddie Owsley. Here's a little replay. All started from that little inside ball from Dom Coetzer. Solid pass from Baggett. A solid handoff from Freddie Owsley as well.
Yeah, Jason Baggett just manages to draw in his two defenders there, which leaves Freddie Owsley relatively free on the outside, who's got the pace to finish. You can see Watsonians just very comfortable and calm, even given their field position in these situations. They trust that, you know, when the opportunity comes, that they're able to strike.
Baggett, the first stray pass from him this evening. Sander Walls is still able to make a few yards after picking it up.
Let's start on side.
You do get the sense, Lee, that Sonny's quite happy to kick this away.
Let's make sure we're
knowing that they can
behind the 9, okay?
absorb
Make sure we're
any
behind the 9,
attack
okay?
that Musselburgh bring, and then just pick them off on the counter
Here we are.
when they're running at tired legs.
Yeah, and they also know that if anything, Musselburgh are the ones that are chasing this game. They need that bonus point. They need to throw everything at Watsonians, and with that is going to come, you know, the odd error here and there.
I'm on the chest,
That was
Digby, let's do
almost
different.
a real chance for Musselburgh. Peter Burns
Great.
with a fantastic
Tackle
run.
on the chest, number
He
10.
just couldn't get that pass away at the vital second as Ben Hebert puts the kick in.
Sorry.
And will come all the way back. Advantage being played.
10. Just on the chest, I tackle.
Craig Owenson not happy about something. It was a high tackle.
No, your head or neck for me. It's hitting the chest. Above the ball.
Craig Owenson having a good long chat with the referee. He's not the captain tonight, it is Rory Watt. Musselburgh's outside centre, but at 34 years of age,
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
maybe
I
earned the
did
right
that
to have a
as
little
well.
chat with the referee now and again. Danny Owenson puts it out onto the road behind us. I think that almost bounced off a BMW as
Yeah, good to
Jason Tallock readies himself for another throw.
Timing good on the insert.
Throws a long one in, just maybe a little miscommunication there with his jumpers. It goes behind. Watsonians look dangerous even from here as Baggett spins it out. Look at the pace on this Watsonians backline. Owsley cutting them apart
Always behind the ball.
like a hot knife through butter. And Owsley's over again in the space of a couple of minutes. They really looked lethal from absolutely anywhere, this Watsonians team. It was the pace of Jason Baggett herring away before getting it to the real wheels, Freddie Owsley.
Yeah, Jason Baggett looked quick there as well, didn't he? On the defender just slides out and he puts his foot on the gas. He knows he's got more gas on the outside with Freddie Owsley. who does well to step back inside. He's still got a couple of men to beat, but shows his finishing prowess there. And Watsonians go from turnover. It's so difficult, an overthrown line out. You know, often the best opportunity to attack is from turnover set piece, because you've got a Musselburgh backline that are waiting to execute their play that they've probably practiced all week. It's a turnover, they're sitting, you know, back from the line, deep, ready to attack, and that means that Watsonians can just flood onto that ball, attack space, and they do that so well.
And how good is that pass as well from Jason Baggett at pace, and it's inch perfect.
Yeah, Freddie Owsley doesn't have to break stride, and he's quick enough as it is. You know, he could probably take a ball on the hip and still get up to pace, but the fact that it's in front of him from Jason Baggett just makes it so much easier and so much harder for those Musselburgh defenders to cover.
And we talk a lot about game management, Lee. How well have Watsonians managed this? Because they've got what you'd have to assume will be an unassailable lead now. It feels like they've not had all that much ball. Have they just read this game perfectly?
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't say they've actually had to manage much of this game. I feel like, you know, watching it, they've almost just sat and waited. They've been comfortable with Musselburgh having the ball, they've trusted the defence, and then when that mistake comes, they take their set piece and they execute, or they turn over, and they move the ball so quickly from turnover. If they know they're going to go get those turnover opportunities, they've got the players that can really hurt a team, and that's what they're backing themselves on at the moment.
Rob McDowell initially called play on there, but we now go back. Don't think there was any head knocks there, but not the nicest looking collision to that high ball. Again, Craig Owenson very chatty with the referee. Another scrum as we approach half time and a half in which Musselburgh have had a lot of the ball.
Just less than 2.
It was Danny Owenson and Logan McPherson there involved. But yeah, half where Musselburgh have had so much of the ball, but they've only been able to penetrate that Watsonians line just the once through Tom Foley. And Watsonians have just picked them off
Bind!
and taken their chances.
Set!
Can Musselburgh try and get a try back before half time, just to get a little bit more confidence into that dressing room? They try the move, it's not a bad one, and here goes Sandy Watt.
Got this high tackle!
Shouts of a high tackle there against Ronan Kerr, and that's what Rob McDowell plays the advantage for.
Sternum. Easy. Just be careful there, okay? Just be careful. Listen for the whistle.
Oh.
Yeah.
A tackle maybe beyond the horizontal there. But Watsonians
13 above the sternum.
It was great running from Sandy Watt. Just getting away from Ronan Kerr first and then trying the big fend, winning the penalty in the process. Ronan Kerr just not left with enough time to maybe readjust himself.
Yeah, Musselburgh putting Watsonians' defence under a lot of pressure when they're tracking back there. That's when you can eke out things like high tackles and earn a penalty kick to touch. Sandy Watts looked strong on his wing, but he manages to get himself across the other side on that occasion and make some good ground.
That throws a lot better from Pallet. Not as long and lofted, instead it was arrowed into his jumper. And they've trudged forward a few yards, but it's a brilliant defence, a brilliant maul defence
Number 5
from
pointing on both
Watsonians,
sides.
led by Quagga van Niekerk. Such an impressive player for them. And that is the half-time whistle from referee Rob McDowell. In a first half where Watsonians have put their hosts to the sword. It feels like they've scored with almost every attack. 6 tries for the visitors and 1 from the hosts through Tom Foley. A really clinical performance from the side who sit third in the Arnold Clark Men's Premiership against the league's bottom dwellers. It's been a real lesson from Watsonians in this first half.
Mark and
Well, it was
Samantha
a first
tied
half
themselves
packed full of tries, and it started nice and early. Ronan Kerr, well, going to ground initially for getting back to his feet and scrambling over, and that really set the tone, didn't it, Lee?
Yeah, good strength down the short side, and that was 2 minutes, from the opening kick-off into this play. The ball never went out. Both teams in a kick battle, finding space in behind, and then it was the Watsonians that got a bit of territory. Murray Scott finds Ronan Kerr down the short side, and as I say, the slip almost probably helped him get over there, but really good strength to get through a couple of defenders.
And just 2 minutes later, this mistake from Peter Burns was punished to full effect as Dom Kutzer alley-ooped the ball over to Xander Walls, and Watsons were 2 tries ahead after 4 minutes.
Yeah, that came just off the back of that restart after the first try, and Watsonians looked to width, and then a really good competitive kick, and it was spilled by Musselburgh, and Dom Kutzer was the first to react, but he needs a bit of creativity to get the ball over to Xander Wells there, and it was a big task before this match, but it was even bigger after those 2 early scores.
This was really one of the best tries that Watsonians scored, certainly the first time that they really flexed their muscles through Loman McPherson after 12 minutes, and really the first kind of backline move that really paid off for the visitors.
Yeah, and I think this is probably the one try that Watsonians really built off of their shape and phase play, and it came through some really strong carries in the forward pack. It was Loman McPherson that finished it off, put on a plate by Dom Kutzer, but the winger managed to get on the outside and get over for the third.
Well, this was Musselburgh's fight back, coming through Tom Foley in the corner. They'd actually just botched an attempt to get the ball into his hands, but this time when it came to him, he made no mistake.
Yeah, penalty advantage. They'd went for that crossfield, they came back, they were patient, and just that delayed pass outside to Tom Foley, who manages to finish really well.
This was the 5th try of the game, the 4th for Watsonians. It had been a little while since they scored this one, and it all came from Jason Baggett, in the class that he oozes at number 10, just putting it straight into the hands of McPherson.
Yeah, and as we went on through that half into the second quarter of the game, Watsonians scored a lot from deep, and this was the first one with Jason Baggett. He kicked through in the middle. He manages to get a fortunate bounce, but then he's cool under pressure. He draws his last defender and puts it on a plate for Loman McPherson.
There we go. Little dummy. See you later. Thinks about going inside. I just held off and hesitated just enough to make sure McPherson was never going to be too troubled. Well, this was the next one. The first sign that Watsonians could really score from wherever they wanted. And again, Kutzer and Baggett linking up before Owsley switched on the turbojets and went over for Watsonians' 5th.
Yeah, it's a similar picture, isn't it? You've got players with ball in hand just manipulating defenders, and because Watsonians' attack are flooding through, there's options inside and out, and for these scrambled defenders that are chasing back, it's so hard because they have to pick an option, but then there's another 2 options for Watsonians outside, and Watsonians have executed those decisions really well, and with a player like Freddie Owsley outside, there's always a good chance that he's going to finish.
Well, this was the final try of the first half, and it started on Watsonians' own 5-metre line. Stu Allison picking up the ball, getting it into the hands of Baggett, and he and Owsley did the rest. Swerving brilliantly, just a little shake of the hips, and he was away.
Yeah, he looks like he's tired there under the posts, but yeah, good slaloming run, Freddie Owsley, and again it came from deep. It was a turned over line out. Musselburgh are set up to attack. They're so far from the Watsonians attack, who can then come onto ball with the overthrow, and again it's Jason Baggett just manipulating defenders and using his back 3 well to get over for another one.
Well, that was the story of the first half. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more tries in the second. At the break, it's Musselburgh 5, Watsonians 38.
Mark and Samantha have tied themselves in knots trying to find a new car. It's not rocket science, Mark.
Why isn't it easy?
It is easy.
With Arnold Clark, not only do we guarantee the UK's best used car deals, you can search and compare thousands of cars, adjust your monthly payments, and value your part exchange, all with a few clicks.
Find your car your way. At Arnold Clark, we make it easy.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Really got a rumble on here. Those two phases, lightning quick. Mattinson, onto Nelson, the vice-captain. Here is Smith with 15 on her back for the first time in a nickel jersey, but offset, scoring ground. Eyes alive. Oh, Emma, oh, that is awesome. Price runner Lloyd against Joyce, the hurdle. Oh, the razzmatazz and the score.
Nobody at the back for Italy. Just puts the ball on the foot. Ronan Lloyd is airing after this. Musso under pressure. Clear out was good, but the ball's there for Everall to pick and go, and all will score.
Chance there, chance for Thompson to go straight through the Irish defence. A second Scotland try.
Well, Musselburgh back out nice and early. There's already a change as Ross Brown is on for the hosts. Not the longest time spent in the dressing room, Lee, and if you're Derek O'Riordan, what are you saying to those players?
That's a tough task. It's a tough task. Musselburgh have had loads of the ball. You know, I think there's just errors have crept into their game, partly through Watsonians' defence, but it's tough. They've got to, you know, keep trying to do what they're doing. When they get quick ball, they're finding a wee bit of space. They just need to be able to hang on to it. Watsonians are making it tough, and then when they counter, it's so hard to defend. So, you know, Musselburgh have fought right throughout this season. You know, look at their fixture last week. They were 30 all against Selkirk, who eventually pulled away in the last quarter, but in patches Musselburgh have played really well. You know, and they're in front of a home crowd. You know, they want to, you know, for all money. It looks like they're going down, but they want to go down fighting.
One thing you can certainly say about Musselburgh is they never have a shortage of determination or grit. Got that in absolute buckets. As Jason Baggett tries to launch that kick in behind. Danny Owenson up into the sky. Baggett with the mistake, and it's straight into the hands of Owenson, round the corner looking for Sandy Watt, but the ball goes to deck. Almost a fantastic start for the hosts, really putting Watsonians under pressure, and it almost came off, that kick from Danny Owenson against his opposite man, Jason Baggett. One of the first mistakes he's really made tonight. Just took his eyes off the ball at the last second, didn't he?
Yeah, and it was almost what we've seen in the first half from Watsonians, in exactly the same situation when Dom Kutsia got onto it, but Danny Owenson did really well to pounce on the loose ball. Just unfortunately couldn't get that offload away to Sandy Watt, but it's a brighter start for Musselburgh.
Right.
Well, Musselburgh had plenty of set piece opportunities in that first half. Unfortunately, some of them ended up in Watsonian tries. Rule. Lister was in there hooking for the ball, but it's a good delivery. Owenson into the hands of Watt. Little step from Burns. They made good yards here, Musselburgh. It's exciting stuff as Mataiatini trucks it up. This is better from Musselburgh. They're breaking the gain line. And they keep it going. Ben Heber just grabs hold of that one, and the ball squirms away. Kutzer trying to
fair contest again.
Take it forward. Musselburgh won it back.
It's won the ball.
Owenson, he didn't really have options there. Needs to make sure he isn't isolated. Mataiatini, who grew up playing his rugby in Wellington, into Ross Brown. Mataiatini again.
No, 5! That's rough.
Musselburgh.
There's a second man there.
Need to find a bit of space to try and
won the ball, he's won the ball, two's won the ball.
Attack, but they've lost the ball. Murray Scott shovels it backwards, and Owsley launches that kick.
Oh my!
Oh, he doesn't get as much distance on it as he wanted. Peter Burns a little step and he goes into the contact.
You're never on the ball.
Owenson into the hands of Jakeman, did well to
avoid
getting absolutely clobbered there. Young Dylan Jakeman, the blindside flanker for Musselburgh. Captained Scotland's under-18s last season and has played for Edinburgh's A side this year, so potentially a player with a really bright future. And now when Musselburgh get it wide, a few more yards. It's not really been working that kind of first phase grunt attack up the middle. They've not made an awful lot of metres that way.
Sorry, 9.
Well, they're punching it forward quite well. I think that might have been turned over though. Murray Scott out the back. And here's a bit of open field perhaps for Watsonians to try and play in. Jason Baggett, brilliant little dummy, gets the ball inside. Scott behind him, Owsley juggling and keeping the ball. How on earth has Freddie Owsley held on to that? What a way to get your hat trick. I thought Murray Scott hadn't quite got that ball into Freddie Owsley's hands. Then off the hip, off the back, he somehow was able to gather that. Incredible from Freddie Owsley.
I think Freddie Owsley was almost too fast for his own good there, getting ahead of the ball. The fact he manages to juggle and regather. There's Jason Baggett that managed to slice through a couple of defenders down this side, and then Murray Scott, the link man, and a great bit of skill for Freddie Elsley to keep that ball. I feel like there must have been around 3 minutes of play there between Musselburgh and Watsonians, and it's really just epitomises the way this whole game's went. Musselburgh with the majority of the possession in and around the middle of the field there, but Watsonians are so patient. They've got so many defenders across the field that when they do turn it over, they're able to pounce, and we see it there. It's again Jason Baggett that manages to get through, manipulate those defenders in the backfield, and then it's Freddie Elsley that finishes it off.
Just incredible from Freddie Elsley there. Shades of Simon Zebo against Wales, taking a pass off his boot. Elsley somehow juggling that. Of course, we've talked a lot about what Musselburgh need tonight, and I think it's probably fair to say, even though we're only in the 46th minute, that this result is going to seal their relegation. But Watsonians are looking to put pressure on second place Herrick's. I think Ayr, 20 points above them, probably going to be too far away to try and catch them. But they'll have Herrick's in their sight, and just how important will it be for them to try and get that home semi-final in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference playing at home as you go into, you know, these one-off matches. We've seen the Super Series sides, you know, really fare well throughout the season, but Watsonians will be keen to try and put pressure on Herrick in that second spot, and that's going to determine how the playoffs fall once we're through the next 4 games. But they'll be keen to play at the sharp end of this season and really be in a strong position going into those playoffs.
Well, that is Robert Stott with the throw, the man in the blue scrum cap. He's replaced Jason Tallock at the half. His first throw is a good one. Ross Brown trying to take it forward. He was in the Caledonia Red squad last year during the Inter-District Championship, of course. Plenty of Musselburgh and Watsonians players involved in that. And Craig and Danny Owenson, they were in that Edinburgh Central squad last season, as was Matthew Crawford, Rory and Sandy Watt, Ben Hebert, and Rory Smith, who's on the bench tonight.
No. Third contest.
Peter Burns.
Tackle made. Number 2. On the ball.
Decision goes to Watsonians. And at times in the first half, they were getting on Rob McDowell's bad side, conceded quite a few penalties that gave Musselburgh plenty of territory and possession. But is that just maybe a sign that Musselburgh are tiring after all that attacking work, which is, you know, obviously they've only got the 5 points to show for it?
Yeah, it's a tiring way to play the game, you know, when you're in that area of the field, and it's hard to break through because, you know, you're approaching the 22. Watsonians can sit their back 3 up, you know, apply pressure because the option's not really there to kick, so they can really smother Musselburgh in defence. It's hard carries, hard fought carries against a physical defence, and then, you know, when they do turn it over, it's a psychological blow to see the team go up the other end and score. So, you know, in both senses, it's tough physically, but also mentally when Watsonians are able to flick the switch and score off the back of it. That just makes it even harder. And, you know, Musselburgh are just really struggling to break down Watsonians in that area of the field. It's a familiar story.
A couple more changes to bring you at scrum half for either team as Stuart Allison tries to get it up to Kutzer. Number 21 for Watsonians in the orange boots is Connor McAlpine. He's a real talent at scrum half, 20 years of age. As Watsonians fly away down the left hand side, Xander Walls almost getting away. McAlpine, the delivery isn't great, and it's been knocked on.
Never regained control.
McAlpine, who was in the emerging Scotland squad that Gregor Townsend took charge of last season. He played a game against Italy, and of course you might remember Ollie Smith, the Glasgow Warriors fullback, making his long-awaited return from injury in that game. And he's now featuring for Glasgow Warriors. He's back in Scotland camp as well, looking to add to his, I think it's 9 caps.
Here's Mark. Exactly. It's my life hard now.
We've been speaking a lot about the younger players. One of the youngest ones out there is Watsonians open side flanker Xander McTaggart. He's still at school. Still goes to Merchiston Castle School, making his first start in the Premiership this evening after a couple of impressive showings from the bench. He was in the under-20 development squad last year. Lee, were you playing Premiership rugby about that age as well, or did you have to wait a little bit longer?
Oh, it's such a long time ago. Sorry to remember. No, yeah, I think 18 out of school was my first game for Selkirk against a visiting team from Cardiff, actually, that was up playing at Philip Hawke, and they were up for the Sevens. So I think I played on the Friday night, the 15s match, and then a Sevens tournament on the Sunday. But it's easy when you're that age.
Very much so. Not quite as easy for the Owenson brothers and the like. McTaggart, a player with a really bright future, who'll be looking to get into the under-20 squads in the next couple of years. Still got plenty of time on his side. Owsley dancing, and then given a pass, and it's spilled there by Josh Mitchell. Just a little sloppy from Watsonians for the first time. Owsley just drifting sideways and not giving off the best pass in the end.
It was the rocket in your second man in.
McPherson who threw that. I think Josh Mitchell's hands may be a little cold from being on the sidelines. I can tell you it's absolutely freezing here in Musselburgh this evening.
That's it.
You can see there that Danny Owenson has gone to scrum half. Jack Rule has been replaced and Rory Smith has come on to add to Musselburgh's backline.
Lads, what are we doing on the side here? Left the mark. These guys can get their heads in the gaps. Yeah, straight onto each other.
Rob McDowell not happy at all there with the front row. Having a smile about it though. I don't think they'll want to be stood about for too long though.
Crouch!
You can see the red hair there of Cole Lamberton. Watsonian's loose head. He can also play in the tight. Super Series regular and former under-20.
No infringement!
And McPhail scholar. That was a big shove that from Watsonians, but also just about held on to the ball. But they then gave away the penalty.
On feet, on ball, then number 6 onto the net.
It was tremendous pressure at the scrum from Watsonians, wasn't it? It just put Musselburgh on the back foot. They did well to get the ball away from the set piece, but easy for Watsonians going forward to get over the ball and get the turnover.
12.
Another change for the hosts. Ben Hever is off. Murray McCowan is coming on. He's another promising youngster, an inside centre. Can really play across the back. He attended Loreto. He's featured in Edinburgh youth teams. Academy supported player at one point. He's another who's done well in his showings as the ball is stolen by Musselburgh. We've not really seen too much of the Watsonian set piece, and that was probably the first throw that they had in opposition 22, and it goes astray.
Start on. Stay on feet, Watsonians.
Oh, Watsonians making a real
Here's the ball.
nuisance of themselves at this ruck.
Halfway corner, go!
The ball eventually comes out. It's not the longest of clearances, and
Just take a line,
Musselburgh
okay?
are back doing their defensive duties.
Yeah, please. 6.
And I wonder
6.
here
6.
if we're going to see a Watsonians attack that is a lot better from deep than from within the 22 metres. Maybe I'm just drawing parallels to Twickenham that aren't there, but this throw's a good one.
Play away! Play away!
Musselburgh don't contest the maul. McAlpine digs in. Musselburgh on the back foot here. Watsonians pour forward. Baggett just a little slow in the build up. Not that slow though. Here comes Freddie Owsley.
Ball out.
McAlpine digging. Maybe thought about the snipe, but the forward pack rumbling on. McAlpine gets it on. The try now feels inevitable unless there can be an incredible bit of defence, but it's Watsonians who go over again. It's Stuart Allison who gets an 8th of the evening for Watsonians. This time they do prove clinical in the 22. Just too strong, too powerful, too quick for Musselburgh to deal with, and eventually they go over the line through one of the co-captains this season, Stuart Allison.
Yeah, and it's Ronan Kerr, the provider at first receiver, hits the short option in Stu Allison. This time it's a strong finish. Shrugs off the defender. He's carried well in this match and well earned for his try, but Watsonians, it's unfamiliar for them, funnily enough, in this match to have possession in the 22 and have to go through phases and build something. But they were patient there and, you know, strong in the carry. You know, it's drills that they'll go through in training, I'm sure, all week and through their team run, but they've not found themselves in that position tonight because they've been so good off counter. But you know, when the occasion's called, they've managed to execute a good short option and another try.
Just wait. A few subs, so just hold. Subs on, Digby, yep.
Well, we've got Musselburgh ready to kick off as some Watsonians front rowers sprint from the pitch, and a couple of changes for the visitors, which we'll bring you when we can. Meanwhile, for the home side, Jordan Lister is off.
Backwards off red, play on.
Roman McPherson dancing and looking for a gap that just wouldn't emerge.
Okay, back foot, lads, back foot.
McAlpine goes high. Owenson just misjudged that, but ends up gathering it. Quagga van Niekerk thought about trying to drive Owenson into touch there. That didn't quite work as Ewan Bothron carries into contact.
Straight from the tackle.
Watsonians turn it over. The ball comes out to the left. They look dangerous from these kind of areas, and they scamper away for another try number 9, and it's Josh Mitchell who dots it down under the posts. They have run away with this one. They will not be caught, and Musselburgh are going to be relegated at the hands of an absolute battering from Watsonians.
Yeah, such a strong carry in the midfield from Watsonians. It sucks in the Musselburgh defence, but there's still a lot of work to do. Sam Lewinnie comes across to offer a good pair of hands on that far side, and it's Josh Mitchell with a a strong finish, shrug off the defender, and goes in for a well-deserved score.
It was a really solid effort from Musselburgh in the first half, which unfortunately wasn't reciprocated by the scoreline. And it seems like Watsonians' confidence is just grown and grown, and Quagga van Niekerk turns over the ball. McAlpine tried to snipe there. Joss Arnold
This is in the tackle for me.
read it perfectly, but here go Watsonians again. Stuart Allison with his dancing shoes on, but he's caught on the 5 metre line. Watson's recycle, and they'll go over now, and I think that's Sam Lowenny with it. The teenager makes it 10 for Watsonians. And when Stuart Allison flew away there, well, I thought it was Freddie Owsley briefly, the way he was trying to dance past those defenders. But the numbers that Watsonians had on Stuart Allison's shoulder, they were able to recycle it quickly, and it was so easy for Sam Lowenny.
It's the offload and the tackle to Stu Allison. Like you say, he looked like an outside centre there, breaking through, and then just that lift off the floor. The Musselburgh defence is scrambling to get back anyway, but and it's so hard when, you know, the ball's not even hit the deck and it's up and it's away. Sam Lowenny is the one who finishes it off, but made by an offload back on the halfway, and Stu Allison with the initial break.
And an 8th conversion of the night for Jason Baggett. Hard to believe that he missed his first 2, although his last couple have been a lot easier, all from underneath the sticks. Brilliant feet there from Stuart Allison. Really, really impressive.
Just a lift there to Conor McAlpine, just keeps the momentum going, and the defence can't recover.
Sorry.
And that's it, there's 18 minutes left in this one. Lee, how difficult will it be for Musselburgh to try and shut up shop? Because, you know, 10 tries, their confidence must be pretty fragile right now.
Yeah, you feel like the floodgates might have opened to a certain extent, and it's tough as well when you've got, you know, players coming off the bench, so the continuity in any match has always changed a little bit when you have players coming off the bench. But
well, there might be a consolation score here for Dylan Jakeman. What's he going to do? He's going to go right over the top.
No tackle.
And he's held just short. Maybe he should have tried to dance inside, but instead he went for route 1, and it just didn't work for the youngster.
Short,
It looks like the try's been given.
On the line and push back.
And a carry from Mitch Thomas from all of an inch out, and he just almost falls onto the line, which was almost underneath him.
Yeah, just as everything was going against Musselburgh, they managed to capitalise on a Watsonians mistake, and it was Dylan Wakeman who broke free into the 22. He opted for the route 1, trying to go through Freddie Owsley, the fullback, who manages to just do enough to stop him short, but Mitch Thomas was on hand to dot it over for Musselburgh. And you know, it's well earned in terms of getting more points on the board for Musselburgh, because like you say, Andrew, they've thrown everything at Watsonians in this match. They've had a lot of possession, and they've thrown everything at a really tough defence, so it's nice to see them capitalise on a mistake on the other side of things in this instance.
Yeah, just a little bit more reward. And it's maybe not gloss on the scoreline, but it is something. Mitch Thomas with his first score for the club. Owenson, who missed that kick, just curling it shy of the left-hand post. Mitch Thomas, he's clearly confident there, offering a little dummy before crashing it forward. I don't think anyone was buying it. Brown.
No Watsonians.
Owenson back to Smith. We were talking about the momentum and the confidence that Musselburgh have had. They look a lot better for it. Brilliant hands there from Ewan Bothron. Musselburgh trying to work it blind, but it's dropped. And here go Watsonians again. There's defenders there, but they're not going to stop him. And it's another, I think, for Josh Mitchell, who was absolutely flying. These teams trading tries like no one's business. It's not quite been a basketball game, but it's not been far off. An 11th of the night for Watsonians.
Yeah, and Musselburgh just started to look a bit more comfortable, almost attacking from a bit deeper. You know, Watsonians having to sit off a bit more. They were finding a bit of space, but again, the error causes a turnover, and Watsonians are just so keen to pounce on it. And it was Josh Mitchell again. He goes in for his second of the night, coming off the bench in a similar position, but just so alive to the turnover. Are Watsonians, as they have been all evening.
Well, we had 7 tries in the first half. That's us up to 6 now between the teams, and we've still got a majority of 13 minutes left as Jason Baggett lines up his 11th of the evening. And it drifts just wide. Unfortunate for Baggett. This was Josh Mitchell's try. Club man who stepped up at times to play in the Super Series. That was a rather opportunistic score, just as Musselburgh's was a minute or two before then. Well taken there by Johnny Roberts in the blue scrum cap as McAlpine tries to go blind. Loman McPherson almost away. Of course, he's got 2 scores this evening. He'll be desperate to try and match Freddie Owsley's 3. Allison.
Come on.
Get him, Mitch! That's it, Mitchie!
Musselburgh with a little chance to punch back as we approach the final rounds of this.
Offside, 99.
Musselburgh still fighting until the very end, even though their relegation is all but sealed now.
Still playing advantage 9. I know.
Danny Owenson shoving bodies out the way.
You've got the advantage.
Smith tries the kick, gathered by McAlpine, but the advantage was being played. Will come all the way back.
Standing up on the wrong side, interfering to 9.
Lee, what do you think the mood in that Musselburgh dressing room is going to be like at full time? The relegation sealed with another 3 games to play, but they really have given it everything tonight.
They have, and they have throughout the season. It's tough because they've obviously been conscious. They're continually fighting week on week, knowing that they have to try and get as much as they can from each game, and it's not quite went for them. They knew it was going to be a big task, coming into this evening against a strong Watsonian side. You can almost see now the game's freed up a bit, and I think it's probably because they're resigned to their their fate to a certain extent. You know, both teams know the result, and the game's actually opened up a wee bit. But you know, in a season, it's always going to be tough when there's 3 teams going down and there's a reshuffle happening in the league. So you know, it's a tough ask in a competitive league. But Musselburgh, they've got 3 matches left to play in the season, and they'll look to put their best foot forward to go into their next season with a bit of momentum and confidence in the players.
Number 5, changing binding, collapse.
Well, here's a chance for Musselburgh to try and find a 3rd score of the evening.
Lads,
Ross Brown
can't be clear past the rock
flying
okay?
onto it. The whistle
Back to
goes.
the penalty.
We come back for another Musselburgh penalty.
Number
as they
5,
look to
collapse.
finish this with a flourish. In the league standings at the moment, it's Mar and Edinburgh Accies, the other 2 sides who take up those relegation places. Kelso and Glasgow Hawks are the teams above them, the teams who are quite catchable. How things can change in the next 4 games. At the top of the table, Ayr currently running away with things. Behind them, Heriots, those 2 teams in pole position to get those home playoff semi-finals. Watsonians look certain to be in there as well. Curry Chieftains and Selkirk and Hoyk all vying for a place as well. I'm sure I don't have to ask who you're backing in that race.
Yeah, in a big match tomorrow as well down at Philip Hawke, Selkirk Curry, so really pushing for a playoff spot there. As you mentioned there, that the middle of the league there has been so competitive. You know, you look at the placings, teams jumping around all over the place, and for that, probably looking like that 4th spot in the playoffs is so competitive going into the last 4 matches.
Certainly is. Musselburgh knocking on the door now. Just a couple of yards out. He scored from here not long ago through Mitch Thomas. And it's short at the moment, says referee McDowell. Another
short again.
Big grunt. Short again. Can they find a 3rd score? We're still going for it. Desperate defending from the visitors. And the home crowd cheering their side on, desperate for that 3rd score, ignoring the score line. They're still short. Did he keep trucking through the forwards? Or do they eventually try and go through the backs, who are no doubt freezing out there as they wait for the ball? They come back inside, just inches away. Left and right. This time it goes wide. Watsonians scurrying across there. A couple of big hits going in. Musselburgh are being driven back here. We've talked about how clinical Watsonians have been in attack, but this is an incredible rearguard action. Now the ball finally goes wide as Rory Smith chips over the top. Oh, that's fantastic! They are going to finish with a flourish. Ignore the scoreline. This is all about Rory Watt's try, his 1st of the season. And it's a bit of absolute magic from Musselburgh.
Tremendous score, tremendous. Danny Owenson marshalling his forwards at the line, desperate attack and desperate defensive as well. Rory Smith with a lovely touch, space in behind the post. Rory Watt, the beneficiary. But that's a lovely bit of skill from Musselburgh.
And I think that just sums up Musselburgh. They refuse to give up, and they're still capable of moments of absolute brilliance. So many teams, their head would have gone down when they conceded 4 on the bounce in the second half, but not Musselburgh. They've come back to score 2, and possibly one of the scores of the match as well.
Yeah, and good bravery as well. I know the scoreline is gone and the result is gone, but there was no penalty advantage. Just to pop that one over and executed so well. Danny Owenson had a smile on his face coming back there. He knows how good that one was.
Timing good.
Although it's not the best restart, so much effort put into that attacking phase. They forgot to do the basics there, and Watsonians are really here to spoil the party. Oh, that goes to deck. No knock on. Of course, this Musselburgh side as well, without young Bruce Weatherhead, who is away on a school trip to the north of England, but he's been one of their best players in recent weeks. He looks like a real prospect. No Finn Durage either, former Scotland under-20 hooker. Second row, Jack Haynes has a couple of tries in the last few weeks. Michael Badenhurst, another notable absentee. But a few players have stepped up from the seconds and continue to show the kind of grit that the first have shown all season. As Rory Watt bounces off the tackle from Sam Lowenny. Dylan Chapman with that pass maybe didn't do him any favours. James Longwell on now as the bench fully emptied in the final few minutes for both sides. Ewan Bothron, he's shown good hands for a big man, and that's the rugby equivalent of good feet for a big man anyway. Just a little loose, and Mattiatini has to try and turn the ship around. Owenson goes back the other way. Musselburgh pinged back in their own half. It's been unfortunate. Musselburgh just faced a really clinical Watsonians side who were absolutely intent on not letting the underdog story triumph.
That's all backwards for me. That's all backwards.
The ball goes forward. A lot of tired bodies out there.
It's all off feet. Okay, pass the rock, leave
It's
that.
not a throw in. Musselburgh have somehow held on to the ball. And they're going to need something magical if they're to try and find a bonus point try from here, with just over 2 minutes remaining. Owsley doesn't fancy the run himself. Baggett. Roman McPherson's there if Watsons want to use it, but it goes back inside to Jason Baggett instead. And it's another try for Watsonians, their 12th of the evening, a first for Jason Baggett. And they'll take their time over this. A lot of tired bodies out there.
I want the restart.
And that's just emphasised Watsonians' dominance. The second they get the ball back, they're only interested in one thing, and again Baggett helping to set that one up. I think it was Mitchell with the ball back inside, and Baggett, who looked like he actually pulled something there, but he's taken this kick, so it can't be too bad.
Yeah, he's been the provider on so many occasions tonight. He's got points on the board from the boot, but he's got a few assist passes in there as well. If the fantasy points were up for grabs, I think Jason Baggett would be right up there, and he gets over for a score as well. It was Josh Mitchell,
Last minute, okay.
the provider for Baggett there. He injects real pace onto the edge of this wide move, and then back inside. Good tracking from the number 10, and he adds to his tally.
When Musselburgh leave the field, they know
backwards
that their relegation is confirmed, but they're going to be cheered off by this home support who have backed them all the way. Home support who has also witnessed a real clinic from Watsonians, and particularly from Jason Baggett, making all of his pro experience count. And Watsonians, well, they're really here to play the party poopers, and they're going again. Loman McPherson, he's got numbers inside, he might not need them. He wants to go all the way himself and try and get the hat trick, and he's got it. Fantastic finish from Loman McPherson.
Last time. Hey,
Watson's still there. 13th try of the evening with the final play.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
And it seemed like every time they poured forward, they were going to score. McPherson had plenty of numbers there, but he wanted it all himself. And Lee, with 2 tries already to his name, maybe it's no surprise that he wanted that hat trick.
Yeah, he had. Should he have been stopped, there was plenty of options to offload, but he manages to finish it himself. Smart play by Watsonians down that short side. Conor McAlpine lifts the ball, which just attracts each defender to step in, but the execution of the hands was really good from Freddie Owsley, and then it set Loman McPherson free. And as I say, there were options there, but he was strong enough to finish it on his own and going for his hat trick.
Do you get to keep the match ball if you score a hat trick in rugby? Is that how it works?
I've heard it's a thing now. It's definitely in international matches. It seems to be you keep the ball, so if Loman can. Well, sorry, someone else.
I was going to say Freddie Owsley and Loman McPherson will have to split it in half, I think.
Yeah, they can fight for it.
We'll ask Darcy Graham, I'm sure he'll know. Baggett, the final kick of the game, slots it perfectly between the posts and makes sure the score ends. Musselburgh 17, Watsonians 85. A quite incredible scoreline here at Stoneyhill that seals Musselburgh's relegation from the Premiership, and also makes sure that everyone else knows Watsonians are here to try and win the competition. They have absolutely blown away the hosts despite the best efforts of Musselburgh. Just an incredible performance, wasn't it, Lee?
It was, and there was no shortage of effort from Musselburgh. You know, they had large periods of possession in the match, and you know, the effort was there. It was just a Watsonian side that at the other end of the table, you know, I think physicality was one thing, the defensive organisation. Watsonians were happy to sit back, let Musselburgh play and capitalise when they got their opportunities, and that was essentially the story of the match and the story of a lot of the tries that were scored on the Watsonian side. Musselburgh managed to get over for a couple of their own, which was well deserved for their efforts. It's been a tough season. There's still games to play for. You know, they've got a lot of young players out there, and they'll be looking to build, you know, for their season going forward. And they've got plenty that they can get out of those last 3 games. Sadly, you know, their fate was sealed tonight, though.
And that's what I was going to ask you. What would you be saying to those young players in the Musselburgh ranks? Because there is plenty of them. We touched on Joss Arnold and Dylan Jakeman, Jason Tallock, who have put everything into this evening, but they're on the end of a pretty tough scoreline. What words of encouragement would you offer them?
Yeah, and the lessons come tough as well, you know, when you're under a scoreline like that. But there's so much that you can take from that, especially as a young player. Yes, you want to be winning matches, and that helps, but you know, for these young guys coming up, they're out of school, to be playing in senior rugby, you know, against a team, for example, tonight that have come down from, you know, a semi-professional league and Super Series, you couldn't ask for any more of a test, you know, in a lot of the situations. So I think it's a case of looking forward to next season for them, you know, blooding those young guys, getting them experience at this level, will stand them in good stead, because they'll be a strong side going into that league next season.
Well, don't go anywhere, because we're going to show you the tries in that second half. All of them. I was going to try and count them up quickly there, but that just wasn't going to happen. It started with Freddie Owsley stealing his hat-trick. Another orchestrated by Jason Baggett, and a brilliant finish from Owsley.
Yeah, again on the counter-attack, and Murray Scott, the provider there, but Freddie Owsley had a bit of work to do. He almost got caught a bit flat. He caught it behind, he brought it back to the front, back behind, and then he did so well to hang on to that for his hat-trick score.
A real circus trick there. This was try number 9, Stuart Allison. They had to wait a little longer to get that, but the co-captain dotting down.
Yeah, managing to get one on the board for the forward pack, because a lot of it came through the back line, but strong running all match. And another one here from Josh Mitchell.
Yeah, Watsons were pretty much, well, they were home and dry by this point, and they got another try, number 11, the 4th of the second half, and it was Allison, twinkle toes, The ball eventually coming to Sam Loweni.
Yeah, and you could see there, just as the tackle came in, he was trying to keep the ball free for offload. The offload wasn't on, so he hit the deck and then managed to keep the ball alive, which was the killer blow for Musselburgh. Conor McAlpine finds Sam Loweni, who was just off the bench, and he went over for his score.
And this was when Musselburgh got one back. It'll be hard to tell from that angle, but it was Mitch Thomas, the mulleted Mitch Thomas, who got one back for Musselburgh.
Yeah, capitalising on an error from Watsonians in the 22. Dylan Wakeman in the lead up, and Mitch Thomas, it was the man that managed to dot down.
And then an immediate mistake from Musselburgh was punished by Josh Mitchell. Try number 13 of the day. But Musselburgh were able to hit back.
Yeah, there was a lot of asked of Josh Mitchell off the bench. He had a lot of involvement, but Musselburgh managed to get themselves into the 22, and you know, they huffed and puffed there at the line. It was desperate stuff, but it was a bit of magic that manages to work out in the end.
And this was the final play of the game. Jason Baggett rubbing the salt in the wound to make sure Watsonians finished with plenty and plenty of tries to go home.
Yeah, a strong performance all round from Jason Baggett. A comfortable performance. He tops it off with a try, but he did so much for his team, especially in that first half.
And this was Loman McPherson finishing it all off. The 13th Watsonians try of the night. A hat-trick for him. Brilliant finish from the winger.
It was, yeah, and he had options around him, but he didn't need them. Quick hands down that short side. And a final blow for Musselburgh, and what was a tough result.
Well, there's confirmation of the full-time score. Musselburgh 17, Watsonians 85. But that's not the end of the weekend's action. 5 games to bring you tomorrow. Ayr against Edinburgh Accies, Glasgow Hawks against Heriots, Kelso against Hawick, Melrose against Smart, and Selkirk against Curry Chieftains. Lee, which one of those are you picking as your game of the weekend?
Got to go Selkirk Curry for the playoff spot,
yeah,
isn't it?
That's not a surprise. Not a surprise at all. Well, thank you, Lee, very much for joining us and for your insight there. Thank you very much for watching. Unfortunately, Musselburgh's Friday night ends in relegation. It ends here at Stoneyhill. Musselburgh 17, Watsonians 85.